Good evening, and thank you for being here now after the budget has been laid on the table of the House. As opening remark, I'll just give a few indications of what has been highlighted in the budget. Broadly, I think the four emphasis points are on empowering women, giving a lot more attention to the SHG groups which are in the rural areas, trying to scale them up, give them the opportunity to brand and produce and also market their products in a far more scaled up and professional manner. Emphasis on tourism and training of youth for readying themselves for tourism, specific action for 50 destinations where comprehensive tourism action plans will be introduced. Then what is being called as PM Vikas, looking at Vishwakarma, people who create things, make things out of their hands using tools. In some states they are called Vishwakarmas, in some other states some castes are referred to as Vishwakarma, but what we mean here is to cover all artisans and craftspeople who do things with their hands using some tools, so not specifically only to some particular communities, but to all who create the soft power of India through their crafts. The fourth one, which is in every sphere of life, we have policy interventions and enabling provisions made so that India moves fast on the transition to renewable energy, the investments made for hydrogen mission, renewable energy transitional facilities which we need, natural gas, and also looking at biogas. Also evacuation of power from renewable energy sources located in Ladakh to the rest of the country. So those are four highlights which I'd like you to go back to see the scale in which we are approaching these issues and the impact that it will have on large sections of India's population. Then, of course, I gave 7 priorities, which began with talking about inclusive growth, investments in infrastructure, also reaching the last mile so that those who are still left without a house or a sanitary facility or a road which is reaching them, and so on. So the last mile, reaching the last mile for those who desperately need that kind of a link are all being covered. Then we are also looking at a very futuristic fintech financial sector for which we have brought in some specific ideas. We are looking at also improving the industrialization of this country where people will be trained for Industrial Revolution 4.0, which means they're going to be trained for AI, IoT, using Web3 in other words. So training manpower to ready themselves for industries which are rapidly becoming Industry 3 context. Then digital economy, unleashing the digital power of India in various walks of life, setting up an artificial intelligence research center, center for excellence. So all these are in part A. There's a lot of increase in the agriculture credit availability, 20 lakhs being made available for agriculture credit. Also a sub-scheme under the PM Matsya Sampada Yojana, making sure that people living in the coastal areas are going to benefit from it, fishermen are going to benefit from it. Now, if largely the Part A has looked at these, Part B has aimed at rationalizing the customs duties, also making sure personal income tax, after a very long time, has had substantial changes which will benefit the middle class. And also because this country has been waiting for direct taxation to be simplified, also waiting for direct taxation to be a lot more easy in compliance, and therefore the new taxation regime that we brought in for direct taxation 2-3 years ago has now got greater incentives, greater attraction, so that people can unhesitatingly move from the old to the new. Of course, we are not compelling anybody. Those who want to remain in old can still remain there for enough justifications that they can have. But the new one obviously is now attractive because it gives greater rebate. It also provides for a simplified and smaller slabs, lower rates of taxation, and also slabs which are nicely broken down. So with all this, I think the budget, I've not gone into specifics, but I thought as an opening remark, this much will be sufficient to say this is a budget which is beautifully balanced. Both growth considerations, because the capital investment has never before seen double-digit investment announcements. 10 lakh crore, which includes 1.3 lakh crores being given to states, is going to give a big leg up for capital investment from government. So balancing that I'm talking about is looking at public sector investments, continuing that good tradition of capital investment in infrastructure, and also attending to MSMEs, because they are the engine of growth. We've given them relief. We've also given them new access. We've extended and widened the emergency credit liquidity guarantee scheme. Also given them back their securities, 95% of it, even if they fail to deliver on contractual promises which were during the COVID pandemic. So the balancing is, one, we could sustain the capital infrastructure expenditure from the government. Simultaneously, in the private sector, give a lot of push and impetus for the MSME, and not forgetting the individuals, the middle-class individuals who needed that kind of a tax breaks and relief through taxation. So the large macroeconomic considerations have also been kept in mind. The fiscal consolidation has not been kept in the back burner. We've attended to it. We are respecting the glide path we gave ourselves 2 budgets ago. 6.4 this year fiscal deficit, and the forthcoming year for which the budget is presented now, 5.9% fiscal deficit. So broadly, I leave it at this. I suppose when you ask questions, we can answer the rest. Thank you. Thank you for coming here today.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Shishir here from Hindu Business Line. Ma'am, my question is that when there is an announcement for 7 lakh rupees under new tax regime, that will no tax to be paid, and then you are talking about rejigging the new tax regime, does this mean that this is the end of exemptions for various incentives, exemptions for investment and savings?
Well, I've already addressed this, I think. We want to make the new tax regime, which is without exemptions, attractive enough for people to think that this will be the best option for them because it gives them better rates. It doesn't also make the compliance a burdensome exercise. If rates are so low, you're going to benefit net by paying lesser tax. Even those exemptions that you would have otherwise gained from would have resulted in probably net amount being the same. So we made this a lot more attractive. But if there are people who still think that being in the exemption regime, which is the old regime, benefits them, they're welcome to continue where they want. But yes, the ultimate interest is to make the simpler regime more attractive. And that is why we've come up with this.
Ma'am, firstly, many congratulations on that fiscal consolidation, because I keep asking you that question. But the issue today is about people in terms of, there is a big gamble in terms of capital expenditure. When you do that, does it actually trickle down to the people? Does it create jobs? I know you've been doing this for the last 2 years. Are you sure that this will really trigger of job creation, one, to, money in the hands of the poor people. The second, of course, is about inflation, which, again, you, like last year, you haven't really touched about it, but you have had the letter from RBI. Your chief economic advisor yesterday says we are in uncertain times, but we hope that it will be under the check of 4 to 6%, hopefully the lower band of RBI. What is your answer to both these points?
First of all, on the inflation, I think, yeah, you're right in saying RBI wrote a letter and what. But in the meanwhile, you've seen inflation come down, both the CPI and WPI. Action is being taken by the government. We take inflation-related steps as and when things develop in the ground and in response to it. And that has borne result. So inflation is not something which we are looking the other way while it is changing up and down. We have kept attending to it, and as a result, you find the result. On fiscal consolidation, you asked me the question, and I've already explained that we have attended to it with all earnestness, having respected the glide path we gave ourselves earlier. Jobs. Yeah. See, first of all, I find it a bit odd you may want to ask this question like this. Capital expenditure. I would have appreciated if you asked me, you said something in the BE, but you have not really exhausted what you put forth. You've not really used it in the ground. It is unfulfilled in the sense targets are not achieved. I would have been happy to answer if that were to be the case. But you're asking me a question about, in the sense you are implying that we have fully utilized what has been kept for capital investment. Therefore, it makes me feel odd that you're asking a question of actually have jobs been created or not. When projects are undertaken and money is utilized, and that it is utilized is coming through from the budget statement, how would the projects get completed without manpower, without jobs? Not all projects can be completed, even 1%, without human intervention. So obviously jobs are happening in the ground. So